Hello and welcome. I'm Emma and this is the 10-Minute Quilter. Thank you very much for joining me today. And first of all, before we get going, a big hello to anybody who's joined us via Brenda at Conquering Mount Scrapmore. She gave me a little shout out the other week and I know that a few of you have come over to join us and take a look from that. So thank you very much. Firstly to Brenda for the shout out. She's so generous. But also for the rest of you for taking the time to come over and have a little look and see what we're up to. Nice to have you with me today. Got a lot to get through, so we might end up going over our 10 minutes, but we'll see how we get on, okay? Anyway, but first of all, I hope you're all well. Thank you so much for your lovely comments on my last video, which was a little tutorial, if you remember. And we had some great tips came out of it as well. Lady D and a few numbers I think it was, can't remember, sorry, forgive me, but they mentioned that if you're using fusible wadding you could cut down the 1/4 of an inch so that your seam allowances aren't quite so bulky, which was a really good tip. And also Michelle the quilter said that she'd been to a class and they'd done them and they put a little bit of electrical tape over the ends of the tape measure to stop it from being so sharp. So that was a really good tip. So thanks ever so much for those. I do appreciate it. Thanks for taking the time to have a look at it. And if you had a go, that's brilliant. Thank you. Don't forget there's a little free PDF attached to it. So if you're interested in having a go, you're more than welcome to go and download that and have a go. That would be brilliant. Right, so today, on today's show, we've got a few things. I've been doing these little, they're just little quilt tops, little, I don't know, what, they're not lap size, but you know, they're just little snuggly quilts. Anyway, so these were pre-cut, and one of my ladies who comes along to one of my sewing groups, we get together on a Saturday sometimes and do a whole day, and people just bring what they want to work on. And Anne's brilliant because she likes to come along, she likes to join in, but she doesn't always like to do things for herself. She's very generous and she likes to make things, so she'll just say to me, just give me whatever you want sewing and I'll do it. So she put these together for me on the Saturday. And then I've quilted them, and as you can see I'm just in the process of putting the binding on. I've machine sewn it to the front and then I've just turned it over and I'm just sat hand sewing it at the back on whilst I'm watching telly on a night, which is really relaxing actually. I'm quite enjoying doing them. So they're just little quilt tops, and I just quilted it in a, I don't know, it's like a loop-de-loop. I'll put a picture in, but it's like a loop-de-loop, and then I sort of did like a little feathery half flower. I'm selling it well, aren't I? But anyway, I think it's quite pretty, and I really enjoyed doing it. I just did it sort of free motion, freehand, and I really had a nice afternoon whilst I was doing it. So that one's done. This one's nearly finished, and these are going to our local women's refuge in town, and I think it's such a lovely thing to be able to do. You know, somebody's cut this out, somebody's pieced it, someone's quilted it to finish it. So that's 3 people who have had a hand in these. Now, can you imagine if you're a child, you've perhaps witnessed some horrible things, you know, perhaps your mum's in a really abusive relationship, you've been plucked out your home, maybe you've brought nothing with you, you've been moved probably very likely to another part of the country for your own safety, you're in a big house where there's lots of new people, it's all very strange, and you walk into your bedroom and somebody says to you, that's for you, that's yours, you can snuggle with it, you can drag it round, you can do what you like with it, and when you leave here it's yours to take with you. And it just, I think we sometimes forget what an impact things like this can have on people when we do them. I think it's really important. So if you get a chance to do one, please do it. Anyway, I'll get off my soapbox. And I know that there's a TV series, a TV programme out at the minute on Netflix, isn't there, about quilters in the prison environment, which I haven't had a chance to have a look at, but I will. But I've heard some good things about it, so I shall look forward to doing that. So yes, so those two are nearly done. And I'm going to talk through the quilt in just a moment, but it will mean me moving position, so bear with me. Right, so we've moved round the room now. So normally I sit just down here and the camera's just over to this side here, but I wanted to show you this. So you may remember that on one of my previous videos I was using a big piece of cardboard that Cousin Tracy had given me and was covered in wadding, and I was using that as a sort of like mobile design wall, which was absolutely fine, but it was taking up a bit of room in the sewing room, and I was looking for a more permanent fix to this. So here it is. This is my new design wall. I got hubby involved in it and we watched a few YouTube videos, but mainly I have to say the Missouri Star tutorial with Jenny and Ron. I think is it husband Ron? Oh, I'm sorry if I've got that wrong, but I think it is. Anyway, they talk through how they do the design walls for Hamilton at, with Missouri Star, and so we used that as our guide, really. So we got a piece of foam insulation board from the hardware shop, and hubby stuck that to the wall, and then it's covered with a piece of wadding and also a flannel sheet that I got off Amazon, and then it's got a piece of framing all the way round it, which is screwed in, which just keeps all the ends of the fabric tucked away and tidy, and that can then be taken off if I want to, replace the fabric or the wadding underneath. And this is just a spare piece of wall that's behind the door, and it was just used for storing I had my ironing board actually, it propped up against it. I do apologise if you can hear lots of beeping. My husband's cooking tea, and that's the hob that you can hear beep, beep, beeping away. I did tell him I was going to be a video, so he's still going. Anyway, so yes, so it sits on this wall quite nicely. Now it's not huge, it's not big, I'm not going to get a big quilt on it, but it's very useful to have something that you can step back from. And I think it works quite well. We had a slight breakdown in communication in that I said to him I wanted it to run level with the door frame of the door and the cupboard of doom. That either went in one ear and out the other, or we chose to completely disregard that because he's gone right up to the ceiling with it. And I have pointed out to him that I can't actually reach up there really, but anyway, never mind. I've got that space up there. Should I need it, it might come in handy one day, you never know. But yes, on this I have at the moment, I've got the Block of the Month quilt that I've been working on. So you can see that it's all together. And it's not sitting very well on there. I've got a little bit of a pucker going on here. I'm not quite sure why, but anyway, that'll quilt out, I'm sure. So it is together. I'm now going to work on the border. I don't know if you remember, the idea was that I think that it had a checkerboard border above it, but when we put it up in class we decided that it looked a little bit heavy. So we did brainstorm it and we did reach a decision. Unfortunately I can't actually remember what the decision was, so I'm going to have to get in touch with one of them and just say, what did we decide? I think it was something like I was gonna have a border of that to frame it, and then I think we talked about a really, really thin flash of that, and then I think it was the checkerboard with the green and the cream. I think that was the plan. However, bearing in mind, excuse me, this is all the blue I've got left, and I'm purposely not looking for more because I don't want to buy more fabric. So, yeah, I'm not sure I'm going to get much more out of that really to go all the way around, but we'll have a little measure and see if it works. So that is where we are currently at with this. It has sort of taken a back seat over the past week or so, I will admit, since I got it together. But I will pick it up again in probably about a week's time. I'm going away for a few days, so when I get back, I might pick it back up and run with it then. Right, so that's my new design wall, and we're going to go back to the desk now. Right, so that's all about the new design wall and how the quilt's going. So yeah, I'm looking forward to using that. I think it'll make a big difference. So what else have I been up to? Well, I went to Malvern on Saturday. It was the Malvern Quilt Show this past weekend. So I drove up on the Saturday. We normally have a bus trip, but unfortunately numbers were a bit low this year, so we had to call it and cancel it, which was a shame. But anyway, went up on the Saturday with my mother-in-law. Had a lovely day, really nice. Thoroughly enjoyed it. But it was very nice. It was a really nice day, and I thought you might like to see what I bought. I was so restrained. I just pat on the back for me. I bought these, which are little. I'll open one up so that you can see them. Just little fat quarters. I just quite like the fabric, and I got 4, which sounds a bit odd, but they were 50p each in a bargain bucket. So I thought, yeah, that's a metre there, so I'll be able to do something with that. So I really like that. So that was that. I picked up some of this, which I thought was quite nice. This was extra wide, 1.5 meters, and I got I think I got 3 meters because I thought it would make a really nice backing for a quilt. There seemed to be an awful lot of deals on the go, actually. A lot of, I don't know whether people are just trying to clear stock. Don't know, but there seemed to be quite a few deals to be had, so that that was quite nice. I picked this one up, which I thought was very pretty. I thought it would make a nice little blouse, actually. That's why I bought that. But that was 2 meters, and it was £15 for the 2 meters. So I thought that was quite pretty. So watch this space for that one. I got some quilting template plastic. It's so exciting, isn't it? Really. Plastic. And then I also picked up this. Now this is, I got this from What the Fabric, and had a lovely chat with Joe and Kim over at their stands. And these are the colours for the QuiltCon 2026 Wyndham Challenge. So this is a 6 half meter bundle. Now I'm not committing to anything, but I might have a think about doing something for that, for QuiltCon for next year. But like I say, don't hold your breath, will you? Right, what else? Oh yes, last Thursday I went up to London and I went to Liberty in Soho. Now about 4 months ago, I think it's about 4 months ago, Liberty put a call out asking folks to make quilt blocks for a 150-year commemorative display. And I think they gave some guidance as to the blocks. I think there was a friendship star, and I think there was a 9 patch, and I think they gave instructions on how to make them in case you needed them. But then obviously you could make whatever you wanted. And I think they were absolutely blown away by the response that they got. And they actually ended up with, I think, about 1,500 blocks in total. So I think they were a little bit taken aback by how popular it was. And they've put some of the blocks together as a house within the centre of the Liberty shop. And you can view this from underneath. So you can stand underneath it and look up. You can then go up two further floors, and you can then get a different perspective from it from each floor. And they had so many blocks that they had so many left over that what they actually did was then to put the leftover blocks into books that you can then sit and flip through underneath the installation and just get to see all of them there. And there was a huge range of blocks, from very traditional to humorous to modern to very simplistic to highly decorated. And a lot of people wrote, you know, their memories and their feelings towards Liberty and the Liberty fabrics that they've used throughout their lifetime. And they put some of those stories up as well, which was, it's really, really nice. It was, I had a lovely morning just browsing, chatting to people underneath the installation. So I'm not sure how long it's on for, but if you do get the chance, or you're going up to London, it's well worth going in and having a look, because it was really nice. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And then in the afternoon I went over to Stratford, which I think is northeast London, and I joined Plain Stitch Deb and Public Library Quilts, who were doing a public quilting bee. And so they are trying to create a resurgence in the use of using quilt frames and the rocking stitch whilst quilting on a quilt frame. So it was a public quilting bee, and there were some lovely old quilts on display around, and they had 3 frames set up, and you sat, you know, there was sort of like I want to say 8 people around a frame maybe, and it was all hand quilting. It was just so that you could have a go at quilting at a frame. And it was really nice. It was lovely because everybody was sat talking across the frame and chatting and getting to know each other. And there were a few ladies that were going round and giving you a little bit of advice and a little bit of instruction. And I've obviously done hand quilting, but I don't think I've ever sat at a frame like that and hand quilted, and it's a very different ball game. By the time I walked away, my neck and my shoulders, I could really feel it. But this is one of those crafts that's classed as I thought, endangered craft. You know, it's in danger of dying out because people don't do it. And so they're trying to raise awareness and get funding so that they can promote this and get more people doing this craft. And they have a website, which I will put down below in the description box. I think it's called Within the Frame. So thanks very much for joining me today. I hope you're all well. Do take care, won't you? And I look forward to seeing you again next time. Bye!